Hey everyone, welcome back to Front Row 2021. I'm your host and founder of Front Row this week, Ryan Hayward. I'm also the co-founder of Pitch Proof. We run virtual events just like this one. Guys, we are day 5 of Front Row. It's been a tedious 5 days, a lot of grinding from our end, but damn, the reward is magnificent. Today we're doing some live Q&A with Mike Janda. I'm going to introduce him in just a second, but just before that, a little bit of housekeeping, guys. Firstly, thank you for sharing everything online using the hashtag FrontRow2021 and tagging us at PitchProof. We love to see where you guys are watching from and the notes and the little nuggets you guys are taking away. So that's really cool to see. Also, massive thanks to our sponsors, Adobe XD, Milestone Pay, and Framework. Without them, this thing just wouldn't exist. We couldn't do it without them. So huge props to those brands and teams for helping us out over the past few months. But without further ado, Mike, can you hear me? G'day, mates. How are ya?
How are you doing, man? Good to see you.
You too, buddy. Do you know any Aussie slang?
Just lyrics to Men at Work songs.
Okay, yeah. Funny story. I used to
extent.
play percussion, like drums. And my drum teacher was actually the bass guitarist in Men at Work.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
small town. He's
awesome.
just a local person. Yeah, he's just a small world.
Dude, I'm still a Men at Work fan. Even the Colin Hay post Men at Work material is good.
That's awesome.
He's got a good buttery voice, man.
Yeah. That'll be memes for sure. Mike, we're going to do some Q&A today. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to chuck them in chat. There's already a bunch coming in, and potentially we might bring a few people on too to ask some questions and interact with you live, which I believe we might start with one. Tom, do we want to drag in one of our VIPs? We'll give it a shot, see if he's there. But yeah, guys, if you've got any questions for Mike, chuck them in the chat, which is one of these sides. And I'll make sure to ask Mike over the next half an hour, 45 minutes that we have. All right, let's get the first question in. Hey, Shrahanish, are you there? Sometimes they're like watching on the YouTube stream too, so there's like a 30-second delay. So they don't know they're going to be on for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maybe he's away from his keyboard. That's all right. Mike, I got a question on my own firstly to start with.
Okay.
And it's, all right. How would you describe yourself? Are you more of an entrepreneur or a designer at heart?
Oh man, entrepreneur all the way. Design has just been a vehicle for me to explore entrepreneurship. But I didn't know that about myself when I started. When I started my career, it was design and it was the creative side of things. What I realized a decade into my career and in the starting years of my agency was I love the creativity aspect, and it doesn't have to be just manifest in design. There's so much creativity that goes into business ideation and entrepreneurship, and I've just fallen in love with that over the last probably 15 years of my career, where that's really the heart of my passion. Just always thinking about the next entrepreneurial venture type of thing that I want to pursue.
Looking back at your career, like early days, was there any sort of signs that you were more of an entrepreneur than a creative? Like, were you the kid who was, setting up lemonade stands?
You know what? I had little brothers. I guess I was entrepreneurial because my parents would go out on date night, and my older brother and I would watch my three little brothers. And I always liked to clean the house for them before they came home, just out of kind of the goodness of being a good son. And so I would go to my dad's coin jar and get my dad's coins, and then I would give my brothers the money to clean the house while I just kind of managed and monitored them. So maybe that was entrepreneurial, but outside of that great entrepreneurial venture, I didn't have too much. I didn't catch the bug until, when I was kind of almost 30, when I became really entrepreneurial.
That's amazing. I can just imagine you just be a little manager.
Oh, it's good, man. It's good. I'd throw the coins on the floor and make my three little brothers scramble to try and grab as many coins as they could before the other brothers did. It's good stuff.
That's amazing. You've obviously mentored a lot of creatives over the past few years. So one of the questions from Fergie coming in here is, I'd love to know if there is anything that that you see people not doing or doing very little of that they should really be doing. So is there like a common thing that you see a mistake in creative careers?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I was actually just making some content yesterday where I went and I counted up the number of coaching sessions that I've had over the last 2 years, and it's 523 coaching sessions with creative freelancers and agency owners. So it's just been a ton of talking with creative entrepreneurs. And some of the common problems. So common problem number one is no defined sales strategy. They're just going out and just taking any project that comes their way. They're not hunting, they're just receiving the work that floats past them. It's like, if you take a boat analogy, there's way too many creative entrepreneurs, freelancers that are just sticking a net in the water and sitting in the boat waiting for the fish to just swim by and swim into the net. And they don't have a strategy to actually paddle the boat to a certain place where they think there are going to be fish, and then pick the right lure and then fish and try and catch the fish they're actually going for. So I think this is the biggest, most common mistake that I see creative freelancers making. So what do you need to do? I mean, to try and give some value to this, you've got to define who is the audience that you're trying to reach. What are the services that are going to solve some of the common problems that that audience has? And then you create marketing materials that will resonate with that target audience and help them realize that you're the solution to the common problems that they have. That's how you fish in sales as a creative freelancer, instead of just sitting in the boat, letting the fish hopefully someday swim into your net. So that's that problem, super common. Other problems, people don't know their numbers. I mean, they're out there, they don't know how much money they're billing. They're not projecting forward how much money are they going to bill next month and the month after. They don't know how much their business costs each month. They don't know their average number of proposals that they're sending. They're not tracking their proposals. It just gets at the heart of generally creative freelancers and creative entrepreneurs. Many of them struggle in not tracking data for their business, and data is the lifeblood of any business.
Sure.
So you got to start tracking things and focusing on these data points in your business that will give you insights on what you should do next, what business decisions you should make next. So those are two of the big common problems that creative freelancers, creative entrepreneurs are making.
Why do you think that is? So both those examples there are very business strategy, sales.
Yeah.
Essentially, we're talking sales and financials,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Two very kind of operational sort of things. Why do you think it gets thrown under the radar?
Because it's not fun for a lot of creatives. They want to
Sure.
sit down at a computer and make cool looking stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do. That's at the heart of what they want to be doing.
Yeah.
And the data and the sales strategy and the strategic side of their business isn't as fun because they haven't switched that paradigm in their brain to realize that business, like I said in the intro, business and entrepreneurship can be as creative and as fun and fulfilling as designing something visual.
For sure.
And this was something that I really learned. I was about 3 years into my agency. I think I had 5-7 employees, something like that at the time. And my whole day was managing my employees, managing clients, creating proposals, pricing projects, and it was all business stuff. I wasn't designing a logo anymore, designing a website. I wasn't designing the stuff. I felt like I had designed my way right out of a job that I loved. I was good enough at it that now I didn't get to do it anymore. I had succeeded out of a job that I loved. And I was really kind of depressed for about 6 months where I was like, this kind of sucks. Now I don't design the stuff anymore. I have employees that are designing the stuff. They're doing the thing that was fun for me. And now I don't do any of that. Now all I'm doing is navigating the minutia and the data and the bureaucracy of my business. And it wasn't fun until I started to realize that now I was not creating websites and creating logos and creating design. Now I was creating a business entity, and I was creating a culture, and I was creating a reputation. I was creating a brand identity, a brand presence with my clients. That's what I was creating. When I realized that, I started to get as much energy and enthusiasm around the strategic side of creating my business as I used to get out of creating the website. But I had to change some paradigms in my brain to make that happen, to start to understand that that can be just as fulfilling or more than designing the stuff. So I think that was a little bit of a long answer to the question, why do creatives struggle at sales and at data and understanding business strategy? It's because they haven't switched that dial to fix it in their brain, to realize that that stuff can be just as creative and just as fun and exciting as actually pushing the pixels around Photoshop.
For sure, and I agree with that. I mean, I think I'm more of an entrepreneur than a designer, but I don't think I could do it without that creative element. And
Yeah,
especially over the last few months for me, bringing on a couple of people to our team, where I've kind of taken a step back from the pushing the pixels, and we've literally hired
yeah,
someone for that, right? I've come in from a
yeah,
creative direction point of view, so my time and efforts can be put into the things that actually make us money. Um,
yeah,
it's an interesting transition, right? What you said like that 6 months was like quite tough on you. What was
yeah.
kind of that like transition between that first point being really tough and that point where you go, all right, there's actually something brighter at the end of the tunnel here. Like, was there like a clicking point? Like, I know you mentioned a
Yeah,
little
it was
bit.
when yeah, it was when I started to kind of get a vision for where this business was going to go. I was
Gotcha.
so stuck in the day to day when you're pushing pixels around and you're navigating a frustrated client or a dejected employee, and that's your day. It's easy to get caught up in the spin of your business, in the day by day, hour by hour minutia of your business. And one thing that really helped in my transition was to start to visualize where I wanted this business to go. What is this going to be in 10 years? What are the goals that I want to accomplish? What kind of studio space do I want to have? What kind of awards do I want to win? What kind of project sizes or clients do I want to land? And I started to create a vision board essentially of what what this business was going to become. And then I got excited about pushing it there. I had a bigger picture vision. And it's like you, I mean, you're a visionary, Ryan, and you're very entrepreneurial. And I've told you this, I mean, for your age, it's unbelievable. It wows me every time I see the things that you're doing. Looking forward, you could be really disheartened getting into the minutia of your business, realizing what in the world, I just had a couple thousand people be on front row, and I was managing technical problems and getting Discord set up and blah blah blah, and you're in the minutia.
Mm,
But if you didn't have a vision, and I'm sure that you have a great one, of what front row is going to become and what are the other conferences and things that you're going to do over the next 10 years,
mm,
that vision is what inspires you. And I think there's a lot of creatives, a lot of creative entrepreneurs that they don't take the time to envision the future. So their day is getting up in the morning and working on whatever project swam into their net yesterday, and then they get up the next day and they're at the risk of waking up 20 years from now with nothing really to show for it besides 3,000 projects that they got done. They've just been operating visionless for this whole run of time. I work with some people that I've been doing coaching with that are, they're in their 40s
mm,
and they've been a creative for 20 years, and they're finally now just saying, okay, I think I want to go full-time freelance. I've been in-house this whole time, and they're starting to get a vision of what they want to have happen in their career. But they didn't for a long amount of time. They just went spinning in the hamster wheel for that whole time leading up to it.
do you think purpose is just as important as passion?
I think they're two sides of the same coin. If you know your purpose and you love it, it's easy to get passionate about it. It would be hard to say my purpose right now, my purpose and my passion are so overlapped. My
Mm,
purpose is to mentor and train and help creative entrepreneurs get through their career in a much easier, systematic, structured approach than
sure.
what I did. That's my purpose.
Yep.
And my passion is so intertwined with that because I didn't have someone like me trying to train and help and mentor me. So I'm so passionate about helping those people. Uh, but it'd be hard to say which came first, the purpose or the passion. Both of them, I mean, it's just really such a thin gray line between those two words, I think, for
For
me.
sure. Interesting. All right, moving on. Mike, you've kind of been transitioning a bit to YouTube recently. What's been the reasoning for that?
I love making video content. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was early on in the carousel craze, one
Back
of
in
the
the
first
day.
accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
first accounts that took off doing that. And I like making carousels, but man, if I can't explain it, then I feel like there's a big missing component in my content.
Mm,
So I realized, after I had 150,000 followers on Instagram, and I started thinking, gosh, I don't want to make carousels to
mm,
teach people anymore. I
mm,
love making video. I've got a studio in the room next to me. I have all the equipment. I've gained confidence getting on video and teaching and training. I can do
mm,
it adequately well to teach people stuff. So that was the big push for me was doing that. And to be honest, I do think, and this sounds like a middle-aged man, but I think legacy wise, what am I leaving behind as the stamp on the world that Mike Janda leaves and leaves for his children and leaves for his grandchildren when I have those someday. And I love the idea of having a few hundred hours of legacy that I'm leaving for
mm.
people, not just my own kids and posterity, but for other people too, to help other people on their life journey or their career journey.
Yeah, for sure. And that we both kind of blew up in that kind of early carousel stage. And I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
having I remember this pretty vividly, like you having me having like 20, 25,000 followers and you were kind of like around the 5,000 follower stage. And I just like
Yeah.
instantly knew I'm like, this dude's gonna blow up. Like didn't know who you were yet, didn't know your
Yeah.
experience. I'm like, this dude's gonna overtake me that quickly, which he did. And for good
Yeah.
reason. I'm like, he's just gonna make it. He understands the game. He understands what value is, and that's extremely
It was
important.
fun. That was a fun year.
Yeah.
2019, it was like
Yep.
April, May of 2019 is when that kind of
Yep.
started to take
That was
off.
good. Yeah.
And it was really, really fun
Yep.
for a year.
Yep.
And and then there were so many people on the carousel
Mm,
train and so much regurgitated content that wasn't proprietary that I did get a little soured from it. I got a little where some of the content that was being shared wasn't being shared from experience or even knowledge. It was
mm,
being shared from going and finding somebody's blog post and turning it into a carousel and throwing it on there. And there's some really big accounts that grew that way.
yeah.
And uh, it's always a smidge disappointing to me because I put so much of my own personal heart and soul into my content, and it's all coming from my own personal baggage of building my agency. Uh, that when people are just pulling it from not putting their own personal spin on it, it's always a little disappointing.
Yeah. Especially now, it's very oversaturated. Um,
It's pretty
which is
saturated,
why
yeah.
I
And
give props to your move to YouTube because I think personally for you, it's a better platform. It's a better way for
oh,
you to
thank you.
communicate and
It's
just in terms of like actual, I guess, true fans, I think they'll be stronger on YouTube than Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Sometimes I think I've got all this big community on Instagram. Maybe I should just be throwing my videos onto Instagram.
Mm,
but I don't know, man. I like to conquer things, and I haven't conquered YouTube. And from the evidence I have in my first couple months of pushing on YouTube, it is a tougher platform to
Yeah, sure.
conquer than Instagram was.
Yeah.
But I'm up for the challenge, and I have patience and time on my side.
Yeah, love it. Awesome. All right, we've got a few more questions coming in from people. So, quick reminder, guys, if you want to ask Mike a question, feel free to chuck it in the live chat. But Leon asks, hi, Mike, do you ever miss running an agency? And what was the determining factors that led to the transition of closing it?
Okay, so no, I do not miss running an agency because I already climbed that mountain. So the
Gotcha.
idea of climbing it again isn't motivating or inspiring to me. The determining factors, I sold my agency in 2015, so I didn't just close it, but I sold it. And it came after I had a year, 2014
Mm,
was a year where I ended up firing my right hand person who had been with me for 7 years and having a couple other employees, another key employee kind of leave me holding a bag of messy projects. And I started to look at that, and I started to look at, honestly, to look at my bank account and to say, gosh, I don't need this stress level anymore
mm,
because my need to have financial gain was so much less. I wasn't a billionaire or anything like that,
yeah.
but I had enough money that I didn't feel like I needed to take the risk anymore. So I talked to my financial advisor and I said, I'm thinking of doing something. I'm thinking of either selling my agency um, or transitioning it to a different type of agency or
Mm,
something, a product-based agency or something. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And the opportunity came to sell it because I reached out to one of my competitors. There was a friendly competitor, and told them that I was kind of thinking of maybe selling my agency, and they
mm,
were doing great and had a lot of voids in their agency that my agency was a perfect fit for. So it worked out perfectly to sell to them. And when I talked to my financial advisor about it, he said, you know what? At some point, as an entrepreneur, it's okay to look at the game and decide to take some of your chips off the table. And
mm,
it's the mindset of a poker player who's there playing the game. And when you have very few chips with very little to lose, it's easy to just stay in the game and keep playing because you've almost lost all your chips anyway. You don't have much to show for it. But after you've stockpiled up a big pile of poker chips because you've been winning the game for so long, at some point you should take your chips and walk away. And that's how it
mm,
felt when I sold my agency. It felt like, okay, everything that I've earned up until this phase, I'm going to be able to keep it now. It's not at risk anymore. All the money that's in my business bank accounts that's already been taxed and is just sitting there to cover me for the rainy days of my business is all going to be my money to take finally because I don't need to have it sitting there anymore. And it did feel like I was a poker player taking chips off the table and walking away to a new game, which
mm.
is what I'm doing now. So that was kind of what led me to it, and some of the mindsets that I had when I did it.
For sure. So what are your current, I guess, all right, so agencies that's been, I guess, been thrown away from your revenue sources. So what are your
Yeah.
current revenue streams?
Current revenue streams. My best revenue streams are investments. I have a pretty big investment portfolio, and um, it's been a good run for investments. So net worth wise, it's compounding and doing great.
Do you do any
So
like cryptocurrency, things like that?
and I bought a little bit of crypto just to play
Yeah.
with it,
Oh
$500.
yeah.
I don't know if I have the stomach for crypto, to be
Yeah.
honest. I signed up for Coinbase,
Yeah.
and
I'm the same.
I put $500 in just to play. and it was doing great. You know,
Yeah,
it
it's a
was
bit of a
worth
roller coaster.
574, and now it's like worth 419
Yeah.
since yesterday. So I'm glad it wasn't the 30 grand that I was thinking of putting into crypto a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago. I don't think I have the stomach for it. But I have a diverse and broad investment portfolio. I
Nice.
make money off of book royalties, so I have two
Mm,
published books, and they're in multiple languages, and so make money off of that. Make money off of coaching creatives. I make money off of course sales. I have a UX course that's a partnership course with Skillbox in Russia, and that course has been out for a couple years and continues to do well. And then I have my big freelance course, which generates good revenue as well. So it's nice. I'm in a really sweet spot in my career where money is not the objective because I
mm,
want to line my pockets.
yeah.
Money to me is the metric of determining for me whether I'm winning the entrepreneurial game or not. It's not that
Gotcha.
I'm in a phase where I'm not worried that I can't feed my kids tomorrow. I just want to win
Mm,
entrepreneurship. And
mm,
so making courses and content and things and trying to figure out the algorithm of ad spend to course revenue is fun from an entrepreneurship game standpoint now. And money is really a byproduct, not the focus. The
mm,
focus for me is I want to win at entrepreneurship.
yeah. So if that was a coffee shop, would you still be like passionate to, pursue that sort of
Oh,
revenue?
heck yeah,
Like,
man.
yeah.
I, I, and most entrepreneurs that have done well as an entrepreneur sit around, and Ryan, you're going to think this, you probably already think this sometimes. You look around at other people's businesses and you think, man, if I could run that for them,
Yeah.
I would kill it for them. And that's
100%.
that's
Yeah.
that's how I look at a lot
Yeah.
of things. I
Yeah.
look at, oh, the fence company. If I was running a company that installed fences, man, I would slay
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
business. I would put in systems and processes, and I would know my cost and
Mm,
how much my profit is on each job, and I would line up a sales and marketing strategy. All of that. Once you understand entrepreneurship and business
yeah.
strategy, you can really go and apply it to so many different
Mm,
types of businesses, and it doesn't change. And for creatives to spin this as something valuable, practice entrepreneurship on your own business. Understand
mm,
your audience and your positioning in the marketplace and your price point and how all of these different dynamics affect the strategy of your business. And once you crack the code and understand it for your business, then it's going to be so much easier to sit with your clients and become a business and marketing strategist for them because you understand the dynamics of it because you learned it doing it for your own business.
mm,
It doesn't matter whether it is a fence company or a landscape company or a car repair shop. It's all the same fundamental business strategies that need to be put in all of those different types of businesses.
for sure. Yeah, I'm from quite a small country town. So there are like a lot of those local businesses. And when you said that, I'm like, that resonates with me because I'm like, there's amount of like coffee shops, like just like small sort of service businesses that I'm
Yeah,
like, if I could just like get my hands in there, I could like
I know, man.
completely change their game. And I think, I mean, like, from my opinion anyway, a lot of these small kind of business owners from where I grew up personally, they don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs. And that's probably the
No,
mindset that kind of limits them in some way. Um,
yeah. Well, so you go into, like me, you go into a restaurant and I just start dissecting their pathetic operations. I'm
yeah,
like, why in the world is their menu right here? And why are they making the food this way? And that person walked back and forth 17 times on this
yeah,
one thing.
yeah,
What in the world is this business thinking?
yeah.
Uh,
I used to
the
go on like so.
No, I was just going to say operational improvement.
Yeah,
It's easy to look around at a lot of different businesses and start to see ways that they can improve once you
yeah,
start looking for
yeah.
it.
Yeah, back in the day, I used to do a little bit of like a tennis coaching for a little small local tennis business. And just like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, just from an operational standpoint, I'm like it had legs, it just didn't, the legs didn't run. Like it was
Yeah.
there, it just didn't work. I'm
Yeah.
like, if I could just tweak these few things and like, I
Yeah.
was often like, giving my boss like, oh, here's some marketing ideas, alright, just trying to help him out in little ways. But it's obviously a
Yeah.
bit of a tricky situation being like a hire of that business and also being like 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. Got another question coming in for you, Mike, which is where did you start finding premium clients willing to pay premium prices for your service or
Uh, I
services?
I go deep in on relationship marketing. And before I started my agency, I had landed a job as a creative director at Fox Studios. I was living in LA, and at the time I was too young. I was 28 years old, and I was too
Mm,
young to understand that these people that I was working with were going to be future business leaders inside of premium companies. We were all
mm,
working at Fox together, which was awesome and fun, and right on the Fox lot. And my office was in the Die Hard building from Die Hard movie, and it was a great time and experience. But I just built relationships with my coworkers because I like building relationships with people. I like working alongside my friends, and I like having that connection. uh, those original contacts from our team at Fox became my future clients. And then they became the referral chain to other future clients inside of their same organizations.
mm,
So there are two ways to get premium clients. And I think that these are really the only two ways that you can get a premium client. Number one is you have a relationship with somebody inside of that company who already trusts you
mm,
and likes you and wants to work with you. So relationship is one of the ways that you can get in with premium clients. The second way is through reputation. You build such a reputation around your skill set, your brand personality, your business name, and you build that reputation. And then those clients, premium clients, will find you and reach out to you.
mm,
And I had two big premium clients that came through reputation. Almost everything else in the entire run of my business came out of relationships. And the two that came out of reputation, one was Pepsi. We did a big project for Pepsi in 2011. So it was 9 years from the time that I started my agency until I landed my first premium client based on reputation. And then the other one was Kraft Foods, which we landed in 2012.
mm,
So about a year later. And that was one that came through reputation as well. Everything else, millions of dollars came out of relationships.
mm.
So those are really the only two ways you're going to get in with premium clients, reputation, relationships.
Awesome. All right, I got a couple more questions for you before we let you go. The first one is if you had to start a design business from scratch and you don't have any following, you know no one, you're just a random person in the
Yeah.
industry, what would be the first tangible steps you'd take?
First, I would define who I want my clients to be.
Mm,
I would define an industry that they're in or a size of client. Am I going to be local? Am I going to try and be national? Am I going to be um, what type of client, and what are they in a specific industry? Are they in the tech industry? Are they in the coffee shops in my state or country? What am I trying to Who am I trying to reach? And
mm,
then I would look at that client base and I would say, what are the common problems that those types of clients have?
mm,
So we say, okay, tech industry, funded startups in tech industry. What are the problems that they have? Okay, well, they need an initial brand. They need some marketing materials to get their Series A funding. They need presentation work, infographics, things like that. They need marketing materials like websites. So I would define a suite of services that resonates with the problems that the target audience that I'm trying to reach has. And then I would go all in on trying to build relationships with people inside of that target audience. And building relationships with them starts by connecting with them in digital environments, attending events that they attending networking opportunities. You just start looking for, where can I connect with these types of people so that I can build relationships and get in front of people that I can pitch on my services that solve a common problem that those people have. So that would be my process on starting out an agency again.
How quickly do you reckon you'd be able to get that first client?
Well, I have a lot of relationships already, so it would be easy for me to jump a new client. It would take you as long as it takes for you to build trust with a target customer base.
Gotcha.
And how long does it take you to build trust? Well, I just moved into a new neighborhood last summer, and I have about 3 neighbors that live in the houses near me that I've built trust with and would probably work with them in some business dealing at this point. But when I just very first moved in, I didn't know them. We met, they were acquaintances. I didn't have trust or friendship, kinship with those people. So it takes a little bit of time to build trust inside of a certain network of people. They need to see you more than once. They need to interact with you more than once to build trust where they're going to be ready to buy something from you, your services.
For sure. Mike, last question for you, and it's probably the most important question we've asked today, which is, how's your Cavalier going?
Oh man, my puppy, our little puppy, King Charles Cavalier puppy, she just got her pins taken out of her broken leg today.
Nice.
She's had this big block on her leg where the pins are inside of it, and they took them out today. So it's kind of nice. She has one more week of needing to take it easy before she is back to full speed.
Nice.
So we're excited. Yeah, she's great.
Love it. Mike, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute blast. Is there any closing remarks you want to give everyone at home?
No, it was good. You know, thanks Ryan for doing the conference again. I've just been impressed with you for so many years now, multiple years. It's crazy to think that, but been so impressed with what you're building and the conference you're putting on, and all you do for the creative community. So thank you for getting everybody involved and creating this. I know it's a ton of work for you and Tom and the rest of the team that you're growing there. But I have no doubt for you that your entrepreneurial future is extremely bright, because, not to sound like an old man, when I was your age, I had no entrepreneurial vision, man. I was spinning my wheels in college, getting in trouble, had nothing. I had nothing to offer the world back then. And so to see what you're doing just inspires me. If I could go back in time, I probably would start being an entrepreneur a lot sooner than I did. And then for the people watching and listening, you know what? Your career is longer than you think, and you have plenty of time to make mistakes and experiment with new ideas. Take Ryan as an example. He started Pitch Proof was his digital tool about delivering pitches and delivering design to clients. And now it's not that anymore. He abandoned that and found a better entrepreneurial idea. But came out of an experiment and paying attention to the dynamics and changes of his business that led him to a new entrepreneurial idea. And I think it's a good example. I had so many of those in my pre-agency life, during my agency, and now, where it's just fun. Enjoy your career and enjoy the experimentation. And not everything's going to take off and be amazing, but it will lead you to the next thing that will be amazing.
Yeah.
So I think enjoy the journey. I try and remind myself of that a lot nowadays because I wasn't good at it for most of my career, but I focus on that now.
Nice. Mike, thank you so much. I absolutely appreciate it. I am going to do a little bit more work after this, but then I'm going to sleep because we are exhausted. You can probably hear it in my voice. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, Mike, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Everyone else, thank you for joining this session. Keep using the hashtag FrontRow2021 and we'll see you next time. Oh, also, any VIPs in the chat, head over to Discord now because there's a mentoring session with Nick Parker. And I highly recommend you guys join that one. It's a bit of a follow-up from his workshop the other day. So yeah, head to the Discord VIP channel if you want to join that. But until then, we'll catch you later.
All right, later.